Hi. The holiday season has arrived. This is really when I thrive, you know. I love the colder weather. I love the holiday season. I love all of the magic. I love Christmas. Yeah, this is it's my time to shine. Yeah. Obviously, I had to kick off the season by sharing my favorite holiday romances of all time. This is not a definitive list because I read holiday romances every year. I'm sure this is only the first video I'll make sharing my favorite holiday romances. I'm not even including every single one that I wanted to put on this list because that would take way too long. I really chose the ones that stood out in my mind and the ones that I think are essential for you to read and ones that really made me love holiday romances. For the most part, I'm going to go in the chronological order that I read these in. And we are going to start off with Duke Actually by Jenny Holiday. Now, this is a book that is the second book in a series. I enjoyed and loved this one more than the first book. In the first book, it's a romance between a princess from a made-up country called Eldovia, I believe, and a taxi cab driver in New York City. In this second book, you are following the romance between the best friend of the taxi cab driver and a duke from Eldovia. So these two actually meet at that royal wedding because Danny is the best man, technically best woman, for the male main character in the first book. Max, I believe, is a friend of the princess from Eldovia. I don't really remember. It's been years since I've read this, but what I do remember was the friendship between these two. Danny is recently divorced. She is done with love. She wants nothing to do with relationships. She makes a list titled "Things I Will Never Ever Again Do for a Man." Period. Yeah, good for her. Max, because he's a duke, his family is pressuring him to get married, and he actually ends up in New York City because his dad wants him to meet a prospective bride, but he doesn't want to get married. He doesn't want, well, at least he doesn't want an arranged marriage. Because these two really want nothing to do with relationships or any of the sort, they form a very solid friendship. And the thing that I remember the most about this book was because he lives in Eldovia and she lives in New York City, they have a long distance friendship. There's a lot of text messages, emails, phone calls between them. There's a time difference. And I remember the banter between them being so funny. And because there is that distance between them, their feelings for each other grow gradually and they get to know each other on a deeper level. They see each other at their worst, at their best. That's really what I remember loving about this book, was that it really felt like a friends to lovers book. You could really see them falling for each other over time, and that's what I really loved about this book. And of course, there is the magic of all of the holiday season activities going on. So if you want sort of a light, royal, slow burn, friends to lovers romance, Duke Actually. The next book I'm only going to touch upon very quickly because it is a very popular Christmas book that I think everyone knows about at this point, and a lot of people recommend it during the holiday season, so I'm not going to spend too much time on it, although I will say that this is my favorite Christmas romance of all time, and that is "'Tis the Season for Revenge" by Morgan Elizabeth. I know you've probably seen this everywhere, but to me, the hype is real. I loved this book so much. Like I said, it's my favorite one. You have an age gap romance between Damien and Abby. They're a child-free by choice couple, which you guys know, that's me, that's my core. There's a fun Christmas atmosphere. He worships the ground that she walks on. It's so fun. It's so great. My favorite Christmas romance of all time, "'Tis the Season for Revenge." The next holiday romance I love is The Holidates by Brittany C. Cherry. Now this, I believe, is the author's first rom-com. She is known for writing very emotional and dramatic romances, and I've read enough of her books to know that she lives up to her reputation. She really does. You have Holly, who was left at the altar on Christmas Eve. Diabolical. But that doesn't deter her from finding love. She still wants to find love. She still wants to get married and share her life with someone. And then you have her romance with Kai, who happens to be her neighbor and also the owner of the restaurant where Holly goes on all of her first dates at. And Kai sees Holly always going on these dates, and it's with different men every single time. She never seems to get a second date. And at first they don't really know each other. And then they have this sort of meet cute moment where they run into each other literally in the lobby of their apartment complex. I believe Kai was carrying, I think, a bottle of wine or something, and it spills everywhere. It ruins one of Holly's books that she was writing because she's a romance author. They don't like each other from the beginning because of that interaction. They're always in Kai's restaurant, her going on dates and him being the owner. So he proposes that he'll be her dating coach if it means that she'll go on dates away from his restaurant because he doesn't want her there because again, they don't like each other. And obviously as he continues to help her, they fall in love. And it was just so fun. I loved Kai. He was such a great hero. I loved the things that he did for her, and I loved him realizing that he was slowly falling for the person that he was trying to find dates for. It was just a really sweet romance. So that's The Holidates by Brittany C. Cherry. The next book is for any of you who want a really, really spicy time for Christmas. I'm talking Ho, Ho, Ho. And that is Tangled in Tinsel by Trilina Pucci. It's been years since I read this, but I will never forget this book, ever. It is a reverse harem. The main character, Sam, happens to get snowed in with her 4 very hot bosses. There were no silent nights to be found in this book. This is a spicy one, but I had such a fun time. And for how short it is, it's I think under 300 pages. I think it's only 250 pages or something like that. For as short as it is and for how spicy it is, it still felt very realistic and very grounded. There was still good characterization in this, and I really love the relationship between her and each individual guy, and then their group relationship all together. Again, very real. I don't know how that's possible, but the author made it possible. I had a really great time with this. Again, I will never be able to forget this book. If you want a really spicy time this holiday season, read Tangled in Tinsel. You won't regret it. All right, the next book is Holiday Romance by Catherine Walsh. I think that out of all the books, this would make the best Christmas movie if it ever got adapted into one. You have Molly and Andrew who live in Chicago, but they are both from Ireland, and they go home to Dublin every Christmas season. They are total opposites. Andrew loves Christmas, loves everything about it. His family celebrates it in a big way, and Molly hates Christmas. She's not a fan of the holidays. She's a real big Grinch. Andrew and Molly meet for the first time 10 years ago at the airport because they are both again bound from Chicago back home to Dublin. They start a tradition of always going on the same flight back home every year for Christmas. I think that holiday tradition is so sweet between them. In present day, they are again bound for Dublin, but because of a snowstorm, their flight is grounded, and so they can't get there through plane. Molly is determined to still make it back home, but instead of a plane, they have to take trains, they have to take buses, and so it's going to be a journey for them to get home, but they still plan on sticking together and making the journey together. Follow them in present day, but also certain chapters will flash back to each of the 10 different times that they have flown together, and you see how they have slowly fallen in love with each other over the years, and how they are meant to be despite their differences and despite having completely different lives. Very chaotic, very fun. I definitely think that this reads like a rom-com movie. That is Holiday Romance. Next, I have a novella, and that is Scrooge-ish by L.B. Dunbar. I really enjoy this because the female main character, Eva, manages an upscale department store. As someone who has worked retail her entire career, I resonated with Eva so much. I love the holiday season. Like I said, it is my favorite time of year. However, working in retail during the holiday season, a fucking nightmare, okay? And she gets it. She really gets it. She understands. She deals with terrible customers. She is merchandising. She's making sure she has all the inventory. Like, she is really doing the damn thing. Because I've worked in retail, I loved that representation of someone who also works in retail, sharing what it's like to work in that environment during Christmas. It is absolute chaos in the stores, truly. If you work in retail right now, my thoughts and prayers with you. I'm right there with you. We are in the trenches together, okay? Before the holiday season, she goes to a high school reunion and she reunites with a boy that she had a one summer fling with and never saw again. This is a romance with an older couple, so they are now in their 40s, which is fantastic. Her old fling, Charles, he's a former NFL quarterback and is now a firefighter. Yeah. He is also a single father to a young daughter. After they reunite, he invites her to his company holiday Christmas party, and she attends. From there, their romance blossoms, and it's really sweet. She meets all of his friends. She forms a relationship with his daughter. Again, it's novella, so it's really short. The pacing does move a bit fast because it is a novella, so just keep that in mind. If it does seem like it's a little bit insta-lovey, I mean, technically it is second chance, so they did already have a thing before. If you're in the mood for a really quick, short, fun romance, Scrooge-ish by L.B. Dunbar. The next book that I have is a book by an author who's growing in popularity, but I don't see anyone talking about this particular book. That is Booked for the Holidays by Chelsea Curto. She's very well known for the hockey romance series that she has, but this is such a great holiday romance, and I don't see anyone talking about this. This book takes place in a small town in Florida, and we follow Bridget, who is a bookstore owner on the main street in this small town. Then you have Theo, who owns the shop right next to her, and there's a magazine. Okay, the whole the whole plot of this book just feels so unserious, but it's a Christmas romance, so just let them have it, you know? But basically, there's a magazine that is going to award $100,000 to the most festive and decorative store on that main street. Now, I want to know what magazine in publication today would ever offer a store $100,000 for having the best decorations. I can't think of one. I surely can't. In typical cliche fashion, Bridget loves Christmas, Theo hates Christmas, he's a bit of a grump. They get partnered for this contest. And even though he's very grumpy to her in the beginning, he goes out of his way to really help her with the decorating and making sure she has all the supplies. He goes Christmas tree shopping with her. He helps hang the lights. Like, he really helps her go all in for this contest. He's also a single dad. I don't know what it is about Christmas romances and single dads, because this is not the last single dad book that I have on this list, by the way. But he's also a single dad, and she has a great relationship with his daughter. Very small town vibes. And I really enjoyed this. And again, I don't see anyone talk about it, but this was really sweet. And okay, the one thing I do remember about this book was that there was no, as in zero, miscommunication between these two. And there wasn't a third act breakup either. Yes, Miss Chelsea Curto, she really did the damn thing. She gave everything that she could in this book. So yeah, I really love this, really enjoyed it. Sweet, small town romance with a grumpy sunshine trope and no third act breakup. Couldn't ask for anything more. That's Booked for the Holidays by Chelsea Curto. Ooh, okay. The Nightmare Before Christmas. Now, guys, I don't know what Sarah Rash is putting in her books lately, but all of her romantasy, paranormal type of holiday romances that she's been coming out with, they're so fucking good, okay? She puts crack in these books. In this fantasy world that she's created, there are royal families for each of the holidays. So in this, we follow the Prince of Christmas and the Prince of Halloween, who fall in love with each other. This book was so good. And not only is the romance good, but there's also a lot of emotional depth in these books, and it takes you by surprise because you are not expecting such a deep exploration into these characters the way that Sarah has done in her books. They go through such character development, and they each struggle with so many internal issues. And in this book, why is his father, aka Saint Nicholas, aka Santa Claus, the villain? I especially loved the group chat and the close relationship and friendship that he has with his brother and also the Princess of Easter. Their group chat is absolutely hilarious. I love the banter between them. This was also really funny. There was such perfect comedic timing in this, and the things that the characters said, the way that they reacted, the scenes that played out. So fun. There was also really tense, hot, and heavy moments in here. This had everything. This had everything that I wanted in a whimsical, magical, fantasy holiday romance. This was it. This was it, okay? Read this. Like, everyone needs to read this. It's so good. The Nightmare Before Christmas by Sarah Rash. Okay. The next book, I want to reread this again this year and relive the magic of this book. And that is, oh my God. That is The Christmas You Found Me by Sarah Morgenthaler. Oh my God, you guys, another single dad romance. I don't know what it is, okay? I don't know what it is, but this was the sweetest, purest romance ever. This is a romance between Sienna, who comes from a family that has taken care of the wild land in Idaho for generations upon generations. Her parents are gone, and she has just finalized a divorce with her terrible ex-husband. This is one of the first holiday seasons that she's spending alone, and she's really feeling it. Her best friend, is adamant for her to get back out there. Her best friend wants her to find love again. She doesn't want her terrible ex-husband to be the reason why Sienna closes off her heart to love for the rest of her life. She wants her to find love. She wants her to be happy. But her execution, her best friend puts out an ad that Sienna's looking for a husband as a joke. Her friend puts that with this marriage comes full benefits and a paycheck. Yeah. Iconic. Iconic behavior, I have to say. She is not expecting for anyone to take this ad seriously. It's really just a joke. But yeah, someone does. Someone does. And that's Guy. Guy takes this ad very seriously, actually, because he has a sick daughter. She has stage 5 chronic kidney disease. His daughter needs a kidney transplant. Guy needs proof that he can afford the medication and the healthcare for his daughter in order for her to stay on the transplant list. He's a construction worker. He doesn't make that much money, and the hours are very up and down. And so when he sees this ad, he almost sees it as a Hail Mary. This will pull on your fucking heartstrings. I honestly teared up and cried at certain parts just because of how much Guy loves his daughter and how he's willing to do anything for her. When he first meets Sienna, she thinks that he's joking. She doesn't realize that he actually means it until he talks about his daughter, and she's like, and she feels so guilty because the ad isn't real. It's not real. Like she isn't looking for a husband after she just got divorced, but because of his situation and because she's a good person, she feels for him and wants to help him and his daughter. So she agrees to a marriage with him, strictly just for the healthcare benefits and just to help him and his daughter. She's not expecting anything from him, not expecting a relationship at all. She's truly doing this out of the kindness of her heart to help them. But Guy takes it seriously, and I remember him specifically saying, if I am your husband, I'm going to be your husband. I will not be looking at other women. I will not be stepping out. I'm going to stay faithful, loyal, and committed to you. And mind you, this is a fake marriage, babe. And the man is 10 toes down already. And not only that, Sienna really takes care of them. She allows them to move in with her so that they have a place to stay. She looks after his daughter. She looks after him because he's working all these crazy hours. It was so sweet. And the little moments that they have of them together and them falling in love with each other. This was the most endearing holiday book that I've ever read. It was very heartwarming and it just made me feel all the fuzzy things. I loved it so much. I want to reread this again this year. I highly recommend this book if you're looking for a very endearing, heartwarming, and just pure romance for Christmas. The Christmas You Found Me by Sarah Morgenthaler. This is the one. Another emotional holiday romance that gut punched me and really put me in my feels was A Little Magic by Lindsay Lanza. This is a friends to lovers romance, and it starts from when these two friends meet when they're young and spans over the years until present day when they're adults. I really loved the innocent, pure puppy love that they had when they were kids and how that formed into something deeper as they grew older. Truly magical, truly magical. Romance between Ellie and Theo. I don't want to spoil too much because I definitely didn't go into this knowing a lot, and I think that's what made me love it so much. It really pulls you in and makes you fall in love with the characters and their relationship together and how hard they fought for each other. And there's so much, oh my God, I'm just remembering some of the things that about their past history. There's actually so much that goes on in this. There's a lot of trauma that Theo has gone through, and I believe Ellie is living with a chronic disease, and so her family treats her with kid gloves, and you know she doesn't want to be treated like she's fragile. This was such a sweet romance between friends. I really love this. Definitely highly recommend. I also think Theo is a hockey player. I think he's in the NHL, if I'm not mistaken. This was just pure magic. I really, really, really love this. So if you're looking for a friends to lovers with high emotional stakes, A Little Magic by Lindsay Lanza. I have another holiday novella, and that is Naughty or Nice by Sophie Snow. This is a bit of a taboo romance. You have Rora, who hates Christmas, and she is hired by her best friend to be the Santa photographer for her store because I believe her family owns like a toy store. They are having their annual Pictures with Santa event, so she is hired to be the photographer for it. Santa is played by her best friend's uncle, and that is who her romance is with. So it's a bit of a taboo, bit of an age gap, But oh my God, this is probably my favorite holiday novella ever. I loved the relationship between these two. Again, very realistic and very grounded for it being such a short book. I really loved both characters because, like I said, Rora hates Christmas, but the mailman character, whose name is Henry loves Christmas. I mean, he's playing Santa, for God's sakes. When they first meet, they really can't get each other out of their minds. So yeah, things happen. Okay. I also loved how straightforward and honest they were with each other about their feelings. Again, no miscommunication at all. And when people started finding out about their relationship, they really stood up for each other and for their love for one another. And I really love that about them. Obviously, some holiday magic in this book as well. Another sweet and cozy holiday novella that is Naughty or Nice by Sophie Snow. The next few recommendations that I have are going to be author recommendations. I don't want to go through every single one of their books because each of these authors have a handful of holiday books to choose from, and they are all fantastic holiday books. The first author that I have is Kristen Bailey. This author has a couple of holiday books, and she has one that just came out this year that I still have yet to read, but her holiday books are really fun. Talk about rom-com in the way where her plots and the events that happen in her books are very outrageous and very chaotic, but it's very fun, very adventurous, but still has that undertone of sweet and Christmas magic in it. Very underrated. I don't see anyone talking about her or her books. She puts her characters through the craziest scenarios, but still really fun. Love her books. Very low stakes. I think these are just pure fun and pure joy if you're looking for adventurous holiday romances. I've read Five Gold Rings and We Three Kings. I believe her book that she came out with this year is called Big Nick Energy, and I'm really excited to read that one, but her first two I highly recommend if you are looking for a fun, adventurous, rom-com type of holiday romance. The next author is Sarah Morgan. Sarah Morgan has a ton of Christmas romances, but these are the two that I read that I really enjoyed. I also love these covers. These give me very Hallmark Lifetime movie type of vibes because there's a lot of family drama in this. You're not following just one character, you're following a cast of characters. I would say this is leaning more towards women's fiction because you are not just following one singular romance. You are getting, like I said, a handful of characters and their romances or their story plot lines. But I still really recommend it because they're very heartwarming and they are very soothing to the soul. You follow characters of all different age ranges, so you get different slices of life stories from each of them, and you follow them on their journeys to try and find themselves, find new love again. There's a lot of drama. There are some light plot twists that you might not expect, and they're just overall really great page turners to read during the holiday season. Books I could definitely see someone curling up by the fire or the Christmas tree and just snuggling in for the night and losing themselves in these character stories. Highly recommend this author. And like I said, these aren't the only holiday books that this author has written. There are a ton more in her backlist. I just have yet to read them. And because I've read these, I'm really interested in reading more of her holiday romances. So these will not be the last that I read of Sarah Morgan. The last author that I'm going to recommend for holiday romances, every single one of these holiday romance books that I've read from this author has been a 5-star read. Not an exaggeration, every single one has been 5 stars. And that is Faye Quinn. These are all interconnected standalone romances that are all in the same world, and all of these characters are either friends or acquaintances with one another. And like I said, I rated each and every single one of them 5 stars because this author gets it. This author does it right. I don't know what's in these books, but these books are so addicting. I have read each one of these in one sitting, and they're not short books, babe, but I flew through these books. They are so addicting. The first book was Let Your Hearts Be Light. The second book is You Can Count on Me. And then the third book is If Only in My Dreams. Again, these are all romances, super emotional, super addicting, super sweet, pure, lovely romances. And the holiday vibes in these, I mean, just look at these. Like, they literally scream Christmas, holiday, magic. Ugh, I can't recommend these books enough. Like, if there's one holiday series that I think you need to read, it's going to be this one. Every single book was a banger. Every single book was a banger. If this was an album, this would be a no skip album for sure. Read these books. You won't regret it. Phenomenal, fantastic, brilliant. Love this. That is Faye Quinn. Okay, those are all of my favorite holiday romances of all time. That's a lot of favorites. And that was my edited down list. Okay. But yeah, like I said, I love the holiday season, which means automatically I love holiday romances. So it's hard for me to choose just a few, you know? I want to give as many recommendations as I can. Again, this will not be the last time I make this video. I will probably make an updated one in the near future. Please share any of your favorite holiday romances because I'm always, always, always in the market for more. Or if any of your favorites were on this list, let me know so we can chat about it. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.